Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the day 9 of the Gyan program. I hope you all had a good rest and are ready for another day filled with learning, interaction, and practical experiences. Yesterday's sessions gave us a deep understanding of how eating behaviors and food systems are closely linked to health, safety, and sustainability. We began with a lecture on eating competence, food consumption, and health outcomes, where we learned that healthy eating is not just about nutrients but also about our mindset, habits, and the way we relate to food. The second lecture on vending machines, food safety, and quality assessment helped us explore how hygiene, proper handling, and quality control play a pivotal role in ensuring the safety of food dispensed through automated systems. We wrapped up the day with a tutorial session that brought everyone together for an engaging discussion on how to achieve better nutrition and taste while maintaining safety standards in a sustainable way. Now let's take a look at what's planned for today. Our first lecture will be on vending machine foods, evaluation of nutritional composition, which will help us understand the nutritional quality of foods sold through vending machines and their implications for food public health. The second lecture will focus on factors that most influence the choice of fast food in higher education students, an area that reflects the lifestyle and dietary choices of the younger generation and how these affect long-term health outcomes. After lunch, we have something exciting planned, an industrial visit for hands-on training on millet-based product development and indigenous food product preparation along with local community engagement. This visit will provide a great opportunity to connect theory with practice and understand how traditional food wisdom can align with modern nutrition goals. So without any further delay, let's begin our first lecture of the day. Please join me in warmly welcoming once again Dr. Antonio Rapsu, who will be delivering his lecture on vending machine foods, evaluation of nutritional composition. Over to you, sir.
Good morning and welcome you to one other day of our course. And in this session, we will continue the discussion about the vending machine food products. And yesterday, we talked about the hygienic conditions and the importance of maintaining the food safety aspects related with the foods that are dispensed from these devices and all the involved in the food chain, especially the role of the food handlers. Now, we will further discuss the characteristics regarding the nutritional composition and see how these food products can be evaluated on this regard. Just for reminding, these are the world leaders as we saw yesterday. Japan and the US, being Spain one of the European leaders, but of course with different values regarding the incomes and the number of machines per citizen. And the foods represent more than half of the total items commercialized in these vending machines. So what we have done with regard to this evaluation of the nutritional composition. So we all know that the nutritional quality of vending machine foods may be a factor that contributes to significantly increase obesity and associated diseases. So this is because of the foods that are contained in the vending machines. Of course, if we make some changes on the foods that are available here, of course we can change all these status. Vending machine industry is growing in different countries of the world, and so this research and the evaluation of the nutritional composition of the vending machine foods, and also to compare it with normal consumption of this population of Gran Canaria Island where the study was carried out. Food products from 74 snack and 71 refrigerated machines that were located in this place and especially and on university campuses were nutritionally assessed, and the percentages of sales per food type were also accessed during the period of 1 year to verify the user preferences, and we found significant differences in the content of nutrients compared with this cross-calories test and with the food groups, being sandwiches, the lowest energy food products, while croissants had the highest one. So we would like to highlight that the increased, also the increased sodium content in some of these products could be very, very harmful, and then we will see in more detail these results. The findings suggest that the vending machine foods contain more fat, saturated fat, calories, and sodium than what is preconized and recommended by guidelines and by institutions like FDA and World Health Organization. So, regarding future perspectives and further studies on the nutritional assessment of vending machine foods, government's awareness and policies that can promote the intake of healthy foods are very important, are essential to increase the amount of foods with an appropriate nutritional profile according with these guidelines, with these recommendations in vending machines. So, vending machines reflect the good availability and suitability of food and beverages, especially in Western society, and also in many other environments, including schools, workplaces, and health centers. In some places, the availability of alternative foods and beverage from vending machines may be limited, and one of the big advantages, as we already seen in last session, is that we can buy from these machines any kind of food 24 hours per day since they are connected to electricity. Based on this data, providing healthy and varied foods in such machines is very, very important to counteract the facts that some studies have reported, which have documented the most vending machines are typically stocked with foods and beverages that are rich in energy but low in nutrients. Here we have the results we obtained from this assessment. And first of all, we see the daily intake values, or reference daily intake values we took into consideration. This is the total amount of each element we should intake per day. And here you have the results we obtained from the nutritional assessment of the different kinds of foods we found in the machines. And as we can see, we have here the different types of, in this case, wholemeal baguettes, and then all the values corresponding to these types of baguettes, and at the end we have the median values, the median that was determined based on all these kinds of baguettes. And we can see special in this case, for example, we have some of these products with almost the amount we should intake per day. You can highlight, for example, the sodium in some cases. We have that baguette, wholemeal baguette, salami and cheese with a content of sodium 1732.5 milligrams of sodium only in one sandwich, in one wholemeal baguette of 85 grams. So, and as you can see, the daily intake of sodium recommended is considering the FDA 2400, and if we take into consideration the recommendations of the World Health Organization is to 2000 milligrams. So in only in one wholemeal baguette of 85 grams, in some of these cases, we are almost complete what we should intake in an entire day of our diet. Another foods we assessed were the croissants, and here you have one example, the first one, that contained tomato, salad, turkey, tuna, and corn. The value of 2,676.3 milligrams of sodium. Only in this food item, the daily intake recommended for this element for sodium is surpassed, even if we pay attention the FDA recommendations or the World Health Organization recommendations. And if you see, we have also high contents, very high contents, in this case also in energy, but also pay attention to the total saturated fat, and they are very very increased. Another kind of baguettes made not with wholemeal but with white bread. We see very another examples. Of course, this content, this nutritional profile will vary according to the ingredients that we include in the sandwich. But we have and we have, for example, regarding sodium, we have one sandwich with more than 1,200 milligrams, and another example of half of this value. The difference is if we choose the sandwich with tuna, corn, tomato, and vegetables, or salami. Salami, I don't know if you know what is this. It's a kind of cured meat that we consume there. So of course, the content and the type of ingredients that are within in this case, the sandwich, the white bread baguette, will make the difference. Another kind, here this type of bread is smaller, not so big as you see in this. We have 85 grams. It's a bigger piece of bread, and this 50 grams. It's smaller, and also we have different values regarding all these elements, and I focus once again on the content of saturated fat. We have some some products with 10.2 grams, others with 2.7. So important differences between these products, and of course also the sodium. We have elements with more than 1,000 milligrams, which is more than 50% of sodium that we should intake in one day, and other options more healthy, that we can see that are healthier in this aspect, with less than 450 50 milligrams. We have also the wholemeal sandwiches, less examples because they were not so consumed, and of course with slightly differences. And here we compare only the type of bread and if it is croissant, if it is white or wholemeal bread, or if it is sandwich, smaller size, or baguette, a bigger one, and with nothing inside to see only the nutritional profile of the bread. Of course, then when we add some ingredients, all of these elements, the values corresponding to these elements, will increase, and we can see at the basis that all the croissants have important contents of calories and saturated fats. See the content of saturated fat of croissants when comparison with the other elements, and then sodium only in the bread. We have included on the production of these types of breads, the croissants, already sodium. Of course, when we add some fish, some meat, some cured, especially cured and salty meats to this, the content will even get higher. And easily we can have in only one element a sandwich that people will take in the middle of the morning or in the middle of the afternoon between lunch and dinner, more than half than it is recommended for a full day of some of these elements. So it is easy to understand how can we reach more than the double or the triple that we need at the end of the day with all the meals we take, breakfast, lunch, some snack in the middle of the morning, some snack in the middle of the afternoon, dinner, and in some cases after dinner before go to bed. So with everything we consume in the whole day, I think with this assessment, with these values, we can easily understand how we surpass the recommended guidelines. You have also the comparison of the nutritional markers between the all groups of foods, processed foods that we evaluate, and also regarding energy, as we see, croissants are the most relevant type of bread regarding this, and of course also they have a lot of fat, saturated fat compared with others. And sodium, regarding sodium, we have also important values. I would say no the elements. Perhaps only the whole meal sandwich could be a better options in this regard. Then we also compared some other products that are available on the machines, not only the processed ones, because here we were talking about the processed products that were manufactured, that were handled on the cuisine of the vending machine company. But then we have also some products that are industrial products, that are chocolates, pastry, and we would also like to know the content and the nutritional profile of these products. And we have picked up, in this case, five different chocolates from five different brands of chocolates that were available in the machines, and also compared their content. And we have also different types and different kinds of nutritional composition regarding these chocolates. We see one example, the number two, as also perhaps enriched in dietary fiber with 8.6, another with important values of sodium with 180, and the number three, for example, has no sodium. And regarding the sugars, the total carbohydrate, that in this case are sugars, you have also some differences. You can see that the first one has almost the double than the number 5. So also in this aspect we can have slightly differences that can make as choice one and or the other. Here, the industrial pastry, as I've talked, we have also collected some kind of industrial pastry products available in the machines, and also it's curious to see that some of them are very high in sugar, other in sodium. And regarding the energy value, we have also some slightly difference, not so much. But for example, if you compare the number 5 with number 1, once again, this is almost the double. And then the percentage of consumption from vending machines, we see that that the most chosen products are the industrial pastry products, and chocolate with 33 and 29%. The values you see of 77 and 22% are regarding only in comparison between baguettes, because the baguettes in total the consumption is around 4%. This 77% is saying that people consume more white bread than whole meal. Okay, but when we compare everything, the industry pastry products and chocolate are the most consumed. These data were collected from the vending company vending machines company vending machines that gave us this data. So, what can we conclude from these results, from this nutritional evaluation? Important to point out that this evaluation was conducted based on the information provided by the company, that they have in their sheets, their technical sheets, information about the ingredients they use in the production of the sandwiches, and on the labels of, in the case of the chocolates and the pastry products. For the ingredients that we could not access, or they didn't have this information in the technical sheets, we used a software that that we have regarding the foods, the table composition, table composition of foods. We have, and in that software, we have the values of these of all these food items per 100 grams. So then we calculate the total amount we have in each food product we have awaited. So this is how we made this assessment. As I was saying, so plenty of additional work is needed to enhance the nutritional quality and appropriate portion size of the foods offered in vending machines. The problem is not the machines, the problem is not the devices, the problem is what people want to consume, the problem is what is within, what is contained in these vending machines. So to improve the vending machine selections on university campuses, benchmark data like those reported herein can help stakeholders set priorities and work with decision makers and campuses to advocate healthy campus food environments, which include all food retail outlets. And these vending machines are very, very present in universities, campuses, in health centers, in schools, in all kind of environments. So it is important that they have healthy food choices for people can choose what is better for their lunch, for their middle of the morning eating snack. So if at least we have some of these machines with healthier food choices, people can make the choice in that sense. If we go to the machine and only find salty snacks, sugary foods, sweets, sugary drinks, of course it is more difficult to make people make healthier choices. And the ultimate goal of studies like the present one is to compel environmental changes that make healthy choice possible and easy, is what we have been discussed. And future investigations should also research the behavioral and financial impact of eliminating unhealthy snacks from vending machines. I wouldn't say eliminate, but at least give some other options would be very great. Of course, at least that people can make further choices according to their beliefs, to what they know, to what they think it is better for their health, and of course also the education, the training to the sessions with the populations are very important. But of course we have also to make the other work joined between the food companies, the food industry, to make it this different and to make available other kinds of foods in the machines. So what we propose is that these vending companies take steps to change the processed food sold in the machines. But of course, this is also must be accompanied by the awareness and the conscience of the people and make them more knowledgeable of what is good or not so good for their health. Because if many machines companies change what they have available, change the products they have available within the machines, and if people will not buy the items, that is not affordable for the companies. So once again, the companies will offer to the populations what they want to buy. Because if they put very healthy choices, very interesting food items from the point of view of nutritional composition for health, but if people will not buy, so the company will not survive. So this, of course, must be taken into consideration. We cannot only say to the vending machine companies, change what you have inside or within your machines, because people must eat healthier. But if they don't, if they go to other place or to other site to buy what they really want, even if that is not so good for their health, so it is also important to have this work near the communities, near the population. And it would be much more appropriate to provide these machines with food that contain, of course, fewer calories, especially with much lower levels of saturated fat and sodium. These were the elements we found more critical regarding the composition of all these items, if we can make a general analysis of this. And of course, if we could provide some alternatives with lower levels of these elements compared to those currently available in the machines, that would be great. So we believe that warrants of governments, and this comes the second part of the question, the warrants of governments and the adoption of policies to promote consumer intake of healthy food choices are essential measures to increase the amount of foods with an appropriate nutritional profile. So therefore, conducting further studies will help support and implement public health policies and environmental changes which could improve healthy food access and availability in vending machines. And some work is being done in this sense with some policies that in this case forbidden some kind of foods with high content of sodium, high content of sugar and saturated fat in some kind of environment, especially in health centers and schools with some vulnerable groups have access to these vending machines, and some kinds of foods are quite limited in being present in these machines when they are placed in these types of environments. But of course, this is not the all we can do. It is not only to make regulatory changes to forbid the intake of some kind of food. We have to explain the people and the communities the importance of not to consume that types of food at least frequently and make some other choices. It is not only to say you can't eat this because it's forbidden or because you will get a fine or something like that. You have to make the communities, the populations conscious of their choices and make help them to make these choices according to their beliefs and their desire. And of course, we can find and we can teach these communities, this population, to find also tasteful foods and pleasure in eating some food items not with high saturated fat content, with high sodium content, with sugar high content. So there are other options that can be included in their daily diets. So please let me know your point of view regarding this and about the nutritional composition of foods you related when we talk about vending machines and vending machine foods. Which associations you do regarding the food items available in these devices? It is what we talk here with junk food, with foods with high content of sodium, fat, sugar, or not at all. You also think that we have available another options and another healthier options within the vending machines. Let me know a little bit about your experience, what you have read, what you have experienced. This.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I want to ask, are there any rules made by government in order to impose nutritional standards on the vending machine for to improve the public health?
Yes, what is then it is what I've talked. There are, at least in my country context, of course, this will vary country and region by region, country by country. But in some cases, there are some limit access of high saturated fat, high sugar content, and sodium content foods in this kind of environment, in the health centers, in schools. But once again, this is not everything, and they have their role, their important role for sure, to make these advertisements and to work on legislation. But people must be awareness of the importance of include some other kinds of foods. Because if you don't find the food that you want in the machine, you go to a food establishment, you go to a supermarket, and you will eat this high content sugar, fat, whatever food in other place. The important is to make the population and the communities awareness of the importance of make healthier choices. Because to forbid, because to legislate on this, I wouldn't say that it is not important. Of course, it is, because people can think if we have not available this because the government limited, this is for one reason. People must think on that. If this is forbidden, why this is forbidden here and not in the other place? So this also can make people change, but not all the people, and this will not work for everybody. And of course, it is easy if you don't have access in the machine. You go to the establishment you have right in front, and buy the soda drink, and buy the chocolate, and buy the croissant with excess fat content. So it is a part of the work. Yes, we can make, and it's important to make in agreement with the regulatory bodies, with the governments, but not everything. Not everything. The education, once again, the work that we must do near the populations is very, very important, and perhaps the most relevant task we have to do, and of course the most difficult one also. It is the question of changing mind, changing habits, changing what people think that this is not a problem to eat one chocolate, two chocolates, and why this is telling me to change completely my routine and my food habits. That is the complicated, because to forbid it's easy, and with the forbidden we can stop the people to have access, at least in this way. But but nowadays people can also easily find other ways to get the products. So we should think about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, my question is how can we detect food is spoilage and expiry food in vending machine, this kind of vending machine? How can we detect? Is there is any kind of sensor is present in?
No, this question is more related to the session we had yesterday. Yesterday was food safety. Now we are talking about nutritional composition. And regarding that, I think we have also answered yesterday. Who wants to give an answer to you? What about this? Would be interesting to have this kind of technology and sensors to avoid. Is what I said yesterday. I wouldn't say no, but the cost effectiveness of that.
Then how can we detect it?
I don't know. Tell me you. I don't know the cost effectiveness of that. I don't believe on that at this point. All of that measures would be important, but what would be the increase in the final end product? I don't know. I didn't study that, so I can say if it is a good for the theoretical point. I can say yes if it works, but we have other ways to avoid it. Because these machines are stocked every day. There is one person that go to the machine and verify the expiry date, verify the conditions of the products that are in the machines, and not so cost effectively, because the cleaning and disinfection problems of these machines must be done, and at least at this point by humans, by individuals. You haven't self-cleaning also, as one of your colleagues also told us yesterday, that also could be a good idea. But all of that new, the applying of all that new technologies, that we must study, and of course see the cost effectiveness, because they can work I would say, in lab conditions, but then in practical that cannot be so effectiveness. Or maybe they are. I don't know. We have to study that. But my concern is my biggest concern is regarding that. But I at this point I can say no, and no I can say yes. Yes, you have to see. You have to study that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So in our country, the vending machines that we have usually have all packaged products like biscuits, chips.
Like chocolates, pastry, chips, salty snacks.
Yes, sir. We don't have open perishable products like you mentioned, the whole list of items. And so my question is, which was the most healthiest option in this list of items that you evaluated?
Yes, first, the products you first mentioned are the easiest to manage, so it's easier to stock, to stock, and to have the machines with that kind of non-perishable foods than the others. And with the perishable, we have to also assess the consumption of the clients that will have access to the machine. If we have high consumption, not to not make that products expire or to get spoiled, because that can be easy if people will not buy that perishable foods from the machines. And regarding the healthier options we found here, I believe that was and also because of the size, the sandwiches. Let me show you this, where you have chocolates, not these processed foods. The white bread sandwiches that we can consider it the most appropriate food items. We have the croissant with a very high content of fat, saturated fat. Then we have the whole meal baguette with an important content, especially of sodium. So, and also because of their size, they are almost half of the baguettes, the sandwiches would be the best one, and perhaps the whole meal due also to their content in fiber could be the best options within this all these types.
So, and the chocolates that you mentioned, they're
The
all
chocolates we have different types, so as you see, here are separated by the bones, but we have chocolates, for example, with 35 total content of carbohydrates and other with 18.2. We have chocolates with saturated fat and others with no content of saturated fat. Some you have here an interesting option with almost 9 grams per 9% of fiber. So we have different options also in this regard. If you want to eat a chocolate, see what could be the best option too.
two.
But of course, they have high content of sugars, and that should be something that we would recommend for a daily intake. But of course, people like it. People will eat. We can say people stop eating chocolate, stop eating sweets. Also, but at least if we can choose within all the options the best one, that would be great.
So, so, is there any checklist available regarding vending machines that would include both safety features that need to be
A
checked on
checklist regarding the food safety.
food safety
Yes,
and the machines working?
yes. In the session yesterday, the work I presented. If you go through that work, that paper, in the paper you have the checklist of the all food items the evaluated in the vending machines regarding safety and quality parameters.
So one more question. It's not very common here in India, though we have vending machines available. When we when universities or campuses try to get into an agreement with these vending machine companies, I understand that they will customize it because it will depend on the shape of the product that needs to be stuck into that.
Yes, the vending companies will include in that machines the products that students, university students will buy, will desire to be there. So this should be making accordance, of course, with the managers of the university campuses and the managers of the vending machine companies. And then, of course, if the regulatory bodies can make something do this, because if it's like the same problem we had in Portugal, not at the university level, because at that level people are already responsible for themselves. It's different when we are talking about school environments. But then regulatory bodies can make something to tax or to limit the access of some kind of foods, especially in some quantity. Or, for example, it is mandatory that at least 30% or 40% the food items should be vegetables, should be perishable food. So for not to have only a package the items, as you mentioned, salty products, confectionery, pastry. So that is another step. First, to see how could be possible to implement the presence of these devices in the campuses. Then what should be included there? And should be included for people of healthy choices and for the vending company itself, because the food company, the vending machine food company, will not want to include only healthy options if people will not buy. So this must be taken into consideration, the perspective, the point of view of the company. So we must find here some harmonization, a balance with good food options for the people, for sure, according to their preferences, according to their health, but that will sell, that people will indeed consume and not only be present there because they are healthy and then people will not pick up them from the machine. So, and this is a kind of experience that could be done here. For example, to implement a small amount, small quantity of these machines with some different types of products. And of course, it will also depend on the region, of the culture, of the traditions. I don't think here it will work a machine that includes some kind of products based on meat or animal sources. Perhaps in other regions that could work, but and see what are the preferences of the target population, and then to start to the introduction of some kinds of foods and see how it works. If people will respond in a good way, if people will buy the items from the machines, if they are happy with the offered products, if the offered products are a good choice from the point of view of health. So, all of this, it is a work that can be done, and of course, it can be a good alternative to the other establishments. You have to go have dinner or lunch or a snack in the middle of the morning and the afternoon. Yes. Uh, we have also the operating machines. We can also include, for example, the tea. You are so accustomed, you can have a machine with the expenditure that dispense tea, for example. Why not? The problem is not the machine. The problem is the association of the foods that we are accustomed to relate with vending machines that are not so good options. But that is also a problem related with the consumer and not only with the companies. Once again, the companies offer the products that the consumers want, and it is not worth only say that consumers want more healthier options, but if the consumer at the end will not opt for this selection. So that is important to study and to see for sure.
So one last question, this thing about consumers that you mentioned, like for example, in this university, everything closes at 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, no one will get anything to eat, as I understand, within the campus or even just in the neighborhood. I work in a medical university where people will be working 24 by 7. There be it nurses or doctors who need to take breaks and have snacks in between, even at 3 a.m. in the night. So,
Yes, that is one of the big advantages of the vending machines, that they can give you food, every kind of food, since they are within the machine 24 hours per day. So you don't need to have a timetable for a machine working. They can be located in any place since they are connected to the electricity, and they can give you fresh meals or not so fresh meals, snacks. It depends what is the content of their machines. That is one of the big advantages for sure. We need to see this as an advantage and to work and think in some kind of project to use these machines in a good way. Yes, for sure, that can be very advantageous. Yes.
so do you have any literature or anything that you would recommend
If I
where
have.
any literature available currently at present where they tried to use vending machines as a tool to promote healthy eating practices, and any strategies or challenges?
Yes, yes. Currently, of course, also in schools, in every kind of environments, to include other kinds of. This is changing the content of foods that are available in vending machines. Also, for example, free of gluten products for some specific groups. Very huge diversity of new foods, not new foods, but new foods for this industry are being included in the machines to make the choices of the people more conscious. And we have a wide range of choices that people can make. Of course, it depends of the environment, it depends of the country where the industry is more developed than the others, but it is available. It is possible to introduce a huge amount of diversity foods in the machines, not only junk food, not only fast food or packaged food. No, that idea should be changed. If, of course, since the people will want and will consume them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, we don't have any vending machine in my hometown. So, as much as I know that vending machine does not have any hygiene rating in them, so shouldn't they should display a hygiene rating similar to restaurant to have a transparency and trust with the consumer?
I don't know very well your legislation about food hygiene practices, and I think that, for example, the HACCP system is not mandatory here in India, but in European context, in Portugal and European legislation, what this industry, what these devices must accomplish is the same that a food restaurant. So, and they are monitored, and the fiscalization is made in these machines, and the food that are within these machines in the same way. So regarding temperature, regarding hygienic conditions, regarding the transportation of the foods that are inside the machines. So from that aspect, they can be considered also even with higher hygiene conditions because the food products contained there are less manipulated, are less handled when comparison with something you when you go to a restaurant or a food establishment. So as we talked yesterday, it is very important, first of all, to make sure that all the items that are sold in devices are safe. So that must be accomplished, yes, for sure. And of course, the people that are responsible for the restock the machine are also responsible to apply the cleaning and disinfection program and to clean that machine as frequently as they are used. As I said, there are machines with the consume is so frequently, for example, in some centers, that the machine must be restocked more than once per day. The watering machines. These machines easily can dirt, and it's necessary to apply these hygienic measures very frequently. But of course, this will depend also the use of that machine. If it is a machine that in one day will sell 5, 10 coffees is different from a machine that will sell 100 coffees. So this must be adapted, of course, to the use of the machine. But yes, of course, we must ensure that the good hygiene practices are implemented in the machines. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My question is in schools, universities, or hospitals, like you mentioned, should there be any guidelines or restrictions on what can be sold in vending machines there from a health perspective?
Yes, in some countries there are, as I gave the example in Europe, there are some restrictions regarding that. But from my point of view, That can be important, yes, at least for ours, the populations and community, if this is forbidden or if you have some limit access, what is the reason for? But the part of it, it is very important, the education of the population is what I say. If I can't have access to the suite here, I can go to pick up just right in front in the other establishment, or I can go to the supermarket. That will not change alone, that will not change the routine or the habits of the individuals. That can be important, of course, especially when we are talking about children, but other ways of promotion, good health and good healthy eating habits should also be advocated, because it is not only for forbidden one thing that people will not go there, and we say that when you forbid something, that become the most desirable thing in all aspects, not only food, but only to forbid, only to apply taxes, only to make fines. That is can pass an interesting message that why this is not allowed, why I can't buy this, but also make people the desire of to go there and to buy what is not allowed. So most important of all is that we make people conscious and awareness of the importance of change their routines, and not only say you have to change because this is not good. People say, but why not good? I have making this, taking this, eating this for 5, 10, 11, 30 years, and I'm here and I'm fine. Why you are now arriving to me and say stop to do this and drastically start to do other thing that I don't like, that I don't see it interesting for my perspective, for my beliefs, for my culture, for my yes, that is complicated. Changing the habits, changing the routines is very, very complicated. Of course, it is not one day to another. But the education of populations and since very early ages are very, very relevant. For me, it's the most important. It's not easy, for sure, but only to apply taxes, only forbid the presence of certain foods. We cannot do only that. It's very little. It is very little, and the results only based on that are not so effective. Are not so effective. For example, in some kind of food establishments, we have legislation about the tax of sugary drinks, with higher taxes compared with other drinks. And what happened? The food establishment assumed that this difference and the price of the end product was the same for the consumer, because the sellers wouldn't want to lose their sales. So this is not always so simple to manage and to apply. But of course, if people know that should not buy, should not drink too much of that kind of foods, of drinks, and prefer others because they have implications in their health and all other reasons, that of course better. It was even needed any kind of behavior from the legislation or from the plain taxes at all. So it's like that.
Also, sir, in your view, what challenges exist in balancing consumer preference, nutrition, and matlab- yes, sir, consumer preference and nutrition in a healthier perspective? What challenges exist in vending machine foods in balancing these consumer preference and
The challenge is
nutrition?
the same that we are talking in vending machines or not in vending machines, is to change the people's minds and routines that they are accustomed for several years ago, and now perhaps they must to change something because of their health, because of the health of our planet, of environmental and sustainability issues, and why to change. That is the most, and how I will say people they need to change, to make some changes. And this communication, this education is the greatest challenge, because to make legislation change is easy. Oh, it's not quite easy. Of course, you have to discuss it with the policymakers, with the governments, but we can do. We can legislate to apply some tax to these products. We can forbid even the consumption or the sale of these products. But that is not at all. And today the people can easily access whatever they want, even through the internet, even to go to other place. If they don't understand why they have to change some of their habits or their routines, that will be very difficult.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Like as everybody said, we haven't seen like perishable food in India. We normally get that packed or completely like that junk type food. So like I'm asking, is there any technology in that so that according like we know it is a packed food, so labeling will be there. This is the content of this, like let it be protein, fat, or carbs, anything. So is there anything which we can add the technology, like the person which like I'm withdrawing something from the vending machine, so it will limit me taking only this much thing. Like they'll say that if I have withdrawn one thing, they'll say that okay, your carb has been this much, your protein has been this much, and your fat has been this much. So next withdrawal you can only do below this. Such anything like that can be.
Yes, your question is about any technology to be more available the perishable foods instead of what you have. Yes, and that will depend the type of machine. Of course, a machine that will contain these perishable, these fresh foods, the temperature must be monitored, must be controlled, and we need to have a refrigerated machines, or even a freezer machine. I don't know if I talked, but there are also machines that sell ice creams, for example, and that are kind of freeze. But of course, in these cases, the temperature is a very, very crucial factor that you have to assure that all the transportation of those items must be in a cold chain, must maintain this cold chain, and then when they are inserted in the machine, of course, this temperature must be maintained. This is the special requirement, and in some cases, if the machine is not working well, or if there is some problem, this cold chain is broken, and that can pose some problems, of course, from the point of view what we have talked yesterday regarding the safety issues. But the most important thing also when we think on to make these food items available in the machines, is to see the availability and awareness of the consumers to buy. Because if you include these more perishable foods in the machines with, of course, a limited shelf life period, if they will not be sold, then you have food waste, then the money of these products will be wasted also. The food company will not have profit, so that is a problem. So it is different because the other products can be 6 months, 1 year, no problem, the shelf life, and this no. Of course, you have limited period that they must be sold and consumed. So you really have to be assured that the people will consume these foods. Otherwise, we are wasting money, we are wasting food, and of course the food companies don't want that and change again to another options that make their business go better. That is the problem. But of course, if the consumers demand, if the consumers really opt and buy for their products, the only thing is to make the products available in a machine that allows this range of temperatures. Of course, all the cleaning aspects regarding to the machine must be accomplished, so good hygiene practices. But here the biggest concern and the greatest challenge is to assure that these products are sold frequently and that we will not waste the food and consequently the money. But more and more people are demanding, and more we are seeing those kinds of machines with also with ready to eat foods that, for example, pasta that can be taken from the machine, and then we have a microwave near to regenerate and to eat. more options. Not only the package, the traditional packaged foods and the salty products we are accustomed to associate with vending machines. Other options, but of course that will depend the demand, the desire, the preferences of the consumer, the location of the machine, or the environmental. Those aspects must be taken into consideration and very well studied before we think on implement those options in the machine. So, but things are changing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful presentation. Your lecture gave us a clearer understanding of how vending machines, though a convenient food source, often offer products that are high in energy but low in essential nutrients. It was eye-opening to see how improving the nutritional quality and portion sizes of vending machine foods can make a real difference in promoting healthier food environments, especially on campuses and in workplaces. You also highlighted how small policy changes and responsible decisions by vending companies can shape consumer choices and encourage better eating habits. The idea that environmental changes can make healthy choices easier is truly a powerful takeaway for all of us. With that, we conclude the first lecture of the day. We'll now take a short break before we return for the second lecture. Please enjoy your tea break and be back on time for the next lecture. Thank you.